Hello YouTube and welcome to episode 1 of my Tsukimonogatari reaction series. Suki, however, how we want to pronounce that one. I know the Japanese go very quickly over that one. And yeah, I can stop saying second season now, which is nice as well. Apparently we're moving someone into like a final season maybe? Don't know. We'll say it's labeled Tsukimonogatari for me. So, as always, a little bit of housekeeping. This video will be late. Right now, I'm recording this. So, yesterday I did a 9-hour shift. And then today I did a 7-hour shift. And then I've just gotten off that. And in like 8 hours' time, I'm going to do another 6-hour shift. So, I'm a bit in the wars lately, working wise. So, yeah, just no time. It is what it is. Just kind of moved me forward from a normal Wednesday day into like a Tuesday night, which is strange. But we're rolling with the punches. It'll just delay this one episode, and then I can kind of catch up throughout the week. Sorry, it is what it is. So the plan now is to kind of record this today and then edit it tomorrow. Tomorrow, whenever I wake up after that night shift. So can't guarantee the quality, but I digress. There's also a new show out on the channel. Middle of the week, it'll be the new Kubikiri slot. It'll be Review Starlight, or Shoujo Kageki Review Starlight, I believe it's called. So for those interested in that, that'll be starting on the channel very, very soon. Then we'll start a new poll for whatever else it may be. So stay tuned for that as well. I think Review Starlight's 12 episodes in a movie. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that's correct. I guess the other thing is I have a couple of seasonal things already recorded, just looking for time to edit those. Not that it'll take very long because I don't go in depth into them as much as I did with maybe an Oshino Ko, which was the full, 90 minutes. But either way, that's getting way too into the weeds. Let's talk about Tsukimonogatari by going back and reading the comments from last week, just saying kind of some wrap-up stuff for, what were we calling that one again? Oh my god, Monogatari, of course. I'm very forgetful today. So only a few comments here today, so it shouldn't take us too long. First comment, Chance Lewis. When Kambaru says that she could have become Numachi, she means that she could have become a type of devil. Yes, this is pretty obvious upon recollection. I don't know what I was thinking back there. Of course it means this. Araragi in a lot of ways changed her from going down a similar path. She can see the parts of her own personality that could force her down a similar path. Again, we're not so different, you and I, and all that kind of jazz that I was talking about with Numachi Roka and Kambaru. Next comment here from Ko Chen. Yes, Tsukimonogatari is the next one. Final season, here we go. That's my kind of indicator that this is final season. So is there 3 seasons of Monogatari? So there'd be kind of your first season, which is, again, all the stuff before second season, and then second season happens, and then kind of rolls out from there. The number one question here would be how did this release? You know what I mean? Was this a seasonal format show? Was it just OVAs? Was it just whenever they could? Is it a split up kind of feature length presentation again? Are we going to get previews? All sorts of interesting questions there for sure. Next comment here, Gian Bueno. It's quite a long one, so we'll get into it now. Similar to how Hachikuji died and became the lost cow / snail, whatever we're talking about there, Ryoka died collecting misery and is thus a mystery collector for the rest of time. Well, not anymore, but you know what I mean. So yeah, then we're linking misery collecting, devil collecting. Is she, actually cognizant of everything that's going on right now? Is she just kind of on autopilot and it's a weird kind of possession thing? Lots of different theories there for sure. So the novel stuff, the anime doesn't really go into it as much, but there's a reason why Numachi wasn't very popular. So she hates the boys because she's better at playing football than them, and that annoyed them, and then, she could hold off the whole team. The novel focuses more on the aspects of her life, especially how she chooses to play defense in these games so she isn't the star. Even while the famous star from the teams all around the schools, she didn't get to get along with people because the boys and the players felt too intimidated by her, and the girls just thought she was too boyish. So she was kind of ostracized right there in the middle a little bit between the two groups in that kind of level of schooling, which are girls and boys. That's where our kind of basketball team game stuff comes into it. Kambaru and Higasa are praised by Numachi Roka for, being able to be good teammates as well as play a high level of basketball. And yeah, she always felt alone while playing. Of course, a little bit more of this context would make that last scene hit a little bit harder with the kind of Kambaru passing to her and then receiving the ball back off of her, even though they're enemies, they're still kind of teammates. There's also some Mama Gaian stuff. If you can't be medicine, be poison. Otherwise, you're nothing but water. Figure out what you want to do, basically, right? You can't sit on the fence. You can't be nothing. If you're going to be, pick a side. Pick a side. You know what I mean? Like a lot of, again, I'm referencing the kind of, oh my god, what's her name? Hanakawa stuff from earlier in the show with that as well, who had a similar problem in that area. So in the end, we're calling Namachi muddy water. She's saying that even if her stance as a mystery collector isn't plainly good nor bad, she's still someone that shouldn't go unnoticed by others. Also a joke on the kind of old nicknames and that kind of thing, Namachi meaning swamp, that kind of stuff, right? In the books, Kambaru calls herself Flash Flood, not clear as mud, and follows up with Water You, which is a different pun, only to the mother there, kind of in that weird dream sequence. That's a bit of a weird one. I do like this stuff though. That's quite clever and very, wordplay Nisue Sin type stuff. Cutting hair is always a turning point for Monogatari characters. It's a turning point for most characters in fiction, let's be real. She's literally going from one different character design to another. I'm changing who I am to you on screen. Then it's funny, Tsukihi changes her hair every arc, and then she's a bird, not a bird, a phoenix that, dies, lives again, so rebirth, and in the haircut style there. Also, Tsukihi's like really weird, so she's playing a little bit off of that convention and a little bit maybe ironic, a little bit calling it out. Where it's like, no, I'm just going to have a character that just changes her hair all the time. There's also, she may not be playing by the same rules, considering that she's not quite human. But again, we've been through all that, I think. It's also never said in the anime, but the two other people Araragi helped get a haircut were Hanakawa, when she first cut off her braids after Bake. I think I remember this. And Tsukihi, as stated in a short story. Another short story, Araragi also mentions that when Hitagi was going to cut her hair, he wondered if she would ask him to do it as well, but she said she would never let someone like him get near her precious hair. Which is, yeah, I wouldn't let Araragi near my hair either. He doesn't have good choices in the whole hair department, especially considering what he looked like last season. This is funny too, the kind of Kambaru grandma just loves Araragi and thinks there's something going on between the two, so he's trying to like push them together, even though, like, how could you be that oblivious that your granddaughter is obviously gay, like very, very gay? And Benjamin Lee with a little extra comment here. The last time we saw Kambaru on screen, she was talking to Araragi over the phone completely naked, so maybe her opinions are somewhat justified. Also, Benjamin Lee with his own comment here. I completely forgot to mention last episode that Araragi once said in the novel or in the anime, I don't remember, that he wanted to grow his hair out to hide his vampire bite on his neck. So, that's why he's got the shitty long hair, but I still think it's kind of shitty. It just makes him, it's just weird. It's not him. I don't know. I think he should rather, it's very college student now that I'm thinking about it. Like, kind of get out of your schooling system, even though Araragi was always a little bit of a bad boy. He wasn't, that, hard, fast student, always by the rules, that kind of character. He's still experiencing probably some newfound freedom in college and is growing his hair out. I've been down this road. It's a bad road. Don't go down it. Short back and sides for a reason. So yeah, the novels actually dictate that his hair is getting longer throughout kind of our time on screen, but of course with an anime that would be weird character design wise, especially when we're jumping over time periods all the time. Maybe it would be a good indicator of what time period we were at. Weird one. I don't know. It'd involve a lot of character designs and stuff, really unglamorous anime production side stuff, which, the people making this show probably didn't want to do. And last comment here by Dharma Mansya. The reason why Hana is weak to him specifically is that there's no stakes in the arc. After watching this, after Koi, it's evident to see. I had a similar criticism. I understand kind of Motemo's comment here as well, because there are quite a good number of arcs in Monogatari that don't have stakes like Koi Monogatari and are still quite good, right? Lists Hitagi Crab. Hitagi Crab's weird because Hitagi Crab, it's hard to have stakes in the first 2 episodes. You know what I mean? We're just kind of getting used to everything. Mayoi Snail, I would argue, does have stakes, kind of, because there is somebody's life on the line at the end of the day, even if that person isn't real or really alive, you know what I mean? That's a whole part to that. So in a lot of ways, it is similar to Maui Snail stakes-wise. Karen B is a lot more internal, a lot more emotional of an arc, right? And kind of works on a lot of assumptions by the audience and subverting them by the end, especially if Kaiki's present in an arc, he's always going to do something like that, right? And some later ones as well don't have stakes per se, not life or death stakes and that kind of thing. And I think, yeah, all we're looking at here is probably an arc that's in Monogatari that's just a little bit more internal looking, which is, it works with a lot of what it's doing. Again, it's a tough one. I think it hits what it wants to do, but I'm not mad about what it wants to do either. I'm not crazy about it. I think if we went in a little bit more of a Kambaru backstory direction rather than using a surrogate character in the Machiroka, I think it would hit a little bit harder. But yeah, maybe if they were a little more intertwined relationally, I don't know. It's a weird one. And that's the end of the comments there. So I guess just a little bit of a talk about Tsukimonogatari as kind of like a concept, I guess. So originally I'm like, okay, I know what Tsuki is. It's like moon and also by extension month, I believe. And it's got a very, very simple kanji, one that even I know, which is surprising considering I did Japanese ages ago now. So I'm like, sweet, it's simply moon. Now that I know that kanji, I'm gonna go look at that logo for the new season, and I'll see that kanji for it, and it'll be sweet, right? Wrong. So I looked up the logo, put the logo up here, and it's got this weird kanji I've never seen before in front of it. So I'm like, what gives? So I had a little bit of a dig around, and what I found was this Japanese kind of dictionary thing for ski, which I looked at first, suki, ski, whatever you want to call it, which says it can also be the verb to stab. But again, that still wasn't the right kanji for mine, which, you know, but stab is getting closer to something that would maybe be Monogatari adjacent. Again, maybe this is a second meaning to what we have going on. The one I did find, though, was for Tsukimono. So, Tsukimono, again, I'm struggling with the su today. Tsukimono, I guess. Evil spirit that can possess people. That seems way more Monogatari adjacent, right? And lo and behold, it uses the correct kanji. Also, I can't believe I'm only noticing now that between the kind of logos of each of these are like the what you call it, katakana for the actual title, which I could have been reading the whole time, but again, didn't know. So yeah, evil spirit that can possess people. Another thing I wanted to bring up as well is there's a character called Tsukihi, which could be adjacent to this. It could be also part of the pun we have going on. Haven't seen her in a while. Karen's been around, but we haven't really heard much from Tsukihi, so I don't know. We'll see. We're kind of moving into a new season, per se. You know what I mean? Like we're not going to have second season baggage here, which is exciting in a lot of ways, but also kind of scary because I don't have anything to base it on. I don't know where the timeline is. I don't know who we're doing and what we're doing it with. I guess I'm just going to jump right in because I don't think I have anything else to say, so therefore shill stuff. If you like the video, consider liking the video. If you like the video and you want to see more, consider subscribing to the channel. Comment below anything you thought about the episode, anything I could do to improve my presentation, comment below. I'm doing follow for follow on Twitter, so follow me on Twitter if you'd like me to follow you back. In the Discord, join Discord, suggest new shows on the Discord, talk about Monogatari with me on the Discord, get the most recent adjustment news about when I'm recording and when things will be out on the Discord and that kind of stuff. And yeah, and I guess we're jumping into Tsukimonogatari right now. Rightio, got episode 1 of Tsukimonogatari up here ready to go. Let me pop that up on screen there. Just a couple of notes. I see the Yotsugi little banner there, the Ononoki kind of thing, and it says chapter 1. And it's also very bright and gaudy. So yeah, maybe this is indicative of where we're going. I mean, it also couldn't be. She could just be like in it. Weird one. I don't know. This is definitely different though. This isn't kind of our first screen we get in a lot of episodes, which is kind of like that frame 1 kind of red screen, white screen, black screen that we normally get. So it's definitely different direction maybe. Don't know. Either way, Cole goes subs, and there will be a picture-in-picture in the description below, as always. And yeah, just going to give it a 3, 2, 1. Rightio. 3, 2, 1, go. Yes. Sector from here? She's a doll. I love the poses. What, the rope? Yes. She's definitely eccentric. Oh, I love that. I love the... Yeah, she stopped being kind of scary. I will say that. That's fine. Oh, she's like interrupting the opening monologue? Okay. What? Okay. You will never be part of that culture? Okay, I just kind of see that. I see. Not to become one with. Be together. Together's an interesting distinction. Because it's filled with literary meaning. True. Well, it'd be weird to create something that's never been even thought of before. Oh. Okay, kind of that kind of Monogatari system. Okay. Whatever you say. Unpleasant guy in a Hawaiian shirt. I know that guy. Oh, that shot's mad? Bro, her movements are kind of nuts. Yeah, it's just kind of unnatural. Yeah, for sure. Mm. Indeed. 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 Mm-hmm. Yes. It has been an interesting intro, I will say. Yeah. I know of both of these things. Kind of fed up with it. This is an interesting technique. Yeah. Oh, that's very internal for something that was all about Tsukihie. Oh, her singing voice. This is very interesting. Very robotic. I think I heard some scuttlebutt that this opening is well regarded. I'd be interested in who produced this. I kind of love this. Just heads up, this is like 100% my taste in music IRL as well. I guess I should say that this probably looks to be a not Tsukihie, Yotsugi arc, of course. Love that Doki Doki too. Gotta love that. Oh, she's looking right at me. Ah, yes, Yotsugi doll. Okay, this all tracks so far from what we've been talking about. Oh, classic. Waking Up by the Sisters? Haven't seen that in yonks. Oh, am I having a stroke? Why is there dynamite? Sometimes it really do be like that, especially when you wake up at fucking 5 o'clock every day. I think everybody hates alarm clocks. He's freaking out. What is omitted? It's like we're omitting thoughts. No, that's not what we want you to do. You have to get up. The hair there. The hair there. Hello? We're alarm sisters. Oh, the lighting. Oh, he's presenting? Oh. Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing. uh, what do you need to worry about? Oh, I see. Okay. And at this point, we're free of our whole Nadeko thing, right? The haircuts are kind of mad. What are you reading? It was like some Transformers or some shit. Feet? Any feet enjoyers in watching along? Don't do that. Dude, the lighting is killing me too. Okay, ma'am. Oh, I love a hot bath too. It's just getting into the colder weather now. Need to get back into the baths again. Yeah, that's like some correct me. I'm bad at that kind of stuff. Looks like almost Voltron or something. Okay, she ran off. Okay. Oh, I've seen that GIF before. The dance. You're not too bad yourself. That's pretty good technique. Oh. Me neither. But her technique's pretty cool too. This feels way more similar to older Monogatari for mine, right? Maybe it's just we're a little bit goofier. We haven't been goofy in a while. Oh, ow! Yeah. Together forever. I agree. Oh, excuse me. Well, yeah, all things will come to an end eventually. That's very mature of you. Fascinated with her master right now. I think it'll go okay. I think you make it from memory. The music's cool too. Yeah, kind of that build of tension in the music was quite good as we headed up to the end. That's fine. That's what you wanted. It'll probably be perfect by the time she hops in. Just put it all on hot. Not with her. No. Not in her water. That's her water to keep her clean. Hello, you two. Okay, that's pretty good. I agree. Yeah, this really is a return to form to old Monogatari, huh? Yeah, but it's more acceptable if she does it than you. Why do they all want to bath in her bath? Let her bath first. I thought she was going to kick him in the balls. But that's equally bad. No. Was going to. I wouldn't fight her, bro. I think you're out of your weight class. What path? Oh. As you do? uh. Oh, the touch. Oh, the mysterious white liquid. No. Indeed. Oh, it's like a dare. What does this have to do with not Sukihi, Yotsugi? Like that's a big question. I like the ground though. The kind of it's like water dropping. Stop being incestuous. That is a pretty good old 6-pack, though. 8-pack? Hey, yo. Imoto Oppai is a bad combo. Yeah, but it's different. Didn't get any warning about this one. Normally, I get a bit of warning before we go into like an incestuous bathing episode, which is just par for the course for Monogatari by now. Yeah, just touch each other more to be awesome. It's not economical. Yeah, economical. Yeah, it's nothing else. Yeah, just some interesting new production stuff. Doesn't feel the same, which is interesting. I can't read it at all very well, though. Ha. Little bit of Astro Boy, yeah. Got any other jokes? I thought we'd do a rule of 3 of jokes there. SRB. Wash body? This guy's trying to keep it together at the moment. Okay. Clue me in. Why do I have to look over at you? What? But don't put a bunch of water on her. These are going over my head. Somebody must clue me in on those references. They're crucial in like understanding the importance of the arc. In between the toes? Don't get in there. I wouldn't even do that to myself. They're washing for a long time. No. Me neither. That's nice. Nice. Hospital? Why was she in hospital? Yeah. Me too. I'm glad that she's never going to be seen again, hopefully. Indeed. Yeah, very tough on the hair. The limbs on it, Jesus. Indeed. Huh. The thing with Nadeko. No, I'm not allowed. No. No, I'm not going to visit. It'd be a bad idea. Is that why she was at hospital? Just because they thought she disappeared, so you take her to hospital for checkups and stuff? The music is cool too. E-balance. Okay. You want to leave it in a good state? We didn't really have a role. You were like a child. You took on Oshino's role a little bit. I mean, he probably does. He's tough on himself. So leave it to someone else. But that's kind of not his nature as well. He'll be fighting against that. Get Hanakawa to help, or is she still away? So they say self-hypnosis? You can take breaks. This is a bad option for a break, but I'd prefer like a walk. Go walk outside. Away from your little sister's naked body. Hey, yo! Not leaving a lot to the imagination on this one. Bro, Monogatari, they love a bathtub. You could try. You've bathed in there with Shinobu before, yeah? She loves it. What? Yeah. What was unnatural? Supernatural? Whoa! Okay, that is bad. Why have you got no reflection, brother? What happened? Oh, yeah, good point. Okay, how's Shinobu doing? Oh, I've heard this song. I love this song. Claris again, if I'm wrong. If I'm right, if I'm... You know what I mean. Okay, that's our lead in. So we spent a lot of time there. Just getting a few jokes off and a few funnies and a little bit outrageous and that kind of thing, right? Before establishing our actual thing that we have going on. There's a few ideas talked about. There's a few things talked about in totality that will become relevant later on. Yeah, great song, by the way. Killer. What a chorus. Oh, this part too. It's like... Great. What is happening, though? She's like a robot? Which tracks? Love Heart Anus World? Yeah. Okay, now there's an eyeball there. It's not an anus. That's good. Alright, we won. Next time on? Nothing. So that potentially gives us an indicator to how this was potentially aired. Probably not in a TV format. But either way, just some analysis on that episode when I come back. And we're back, and upon recollection, it's kind of an interesting episode to talk about because not a lot happens in it. I think there'll be some choice lines that I'll be talking about in greater detail, but other than that, I think it's a pretty easy one, which is nice. Question mark? Kind of. There'll be an opening in an ED at least, which is something. But it's nice in the perspective of me being really tired in between shifts and really just wanting to get something out here. So this is kind of a blessing. I was quite happy when this episode wasn't just 30 minutes straight of like two really analytical characters talking to each other. It was a lot of jokes. It was a very funny episode. It was kind of frivolous in a lot of ways. And kind of fit as a counterpoint to a lot of what we just saw in Monogatari. If we're understanding pacing like we do from Monogatari to now, and not really how it would have been in airing, if that makes any sense. Like, they didn't consider Hana Monogatari's pacing when making this, but I am considering how I'm watching it, and this is a breath of fresh air. Hana Monogatari is very somber. It's very slow. It's very methodical. It's very internal. It's very thoughtful. It's a lot of different things. And this was none of those things. Well, maybe that's a little bit harsh, but it was definitely a change of pace and a welcome one at that. Kind of a return to old Monogatari. Felt like an episode at a Nisei Monogatari, and not just because of the presence of the two sisters. Just a lot of its construction and jokes and weird fourth wall-y stuff, and that it's kind of like a farce the entire time. You know what I'll talk about it a little bit here with my little recap here. First, interestingly enough, we're at the 13th of February. That puts us after January, which is where Koi Monogatari starts, but I should probably bold that as well, because that's important. And before March, which would have been graduation, and April 10th, which is the start of Hana Monogatari. So we're firmly in the middle of those two arcs, kind of following a little Araragi side story that happened during this period that we haven't alluded to at all yet. So, weird one. The episode opens on a monologue about what Yotsugi actually is, and how she explicitly isn't human but a facsimile, which is a fancy way to say a fake, a copy, artificial version, right? With some additional input from Shinobu, which I think is interesting. It kind of starts off, it's a Araragi solo monologue, similar to a lot of arcs, just introducing a lot of themes and concepts, and then we butted in by Shinobu, who may be a little bit less charitable to Yotsugi, considering her opinion on her character, but again, it's a story for another day, and something that I'll maybe consider when I give this episode a reread shortly. In a blast from the past for Monogatari, the rest of the episode consists of the sisters waking Araragi up and incestuous bathing. Again, very broad. A lot of things actually happen during this section, but it's essentially, like, plot-wise, if you're just summarizing the episode, that's it. That's a lot of what happens, which has forced me to kind of talk a little bit more about some more interesting stuff in this section. Otherwise, this would literally be it. In parts where this doesn't happen, in parts where they're not incestuously bathing and making jokes about it, which are quite funny for the record, I did enjoy myself during the episode. I hope the reaction got that across. Seemingly we're setting up something regarding the passage of time. Think about kind of the talk about the end of the Fire Sisters and moving on from things, that kind of thing. Talk about regrets, talking about Nadeko, talking about that side of it. Change is going to be a big one. Change for Araragi going into college, change of the status quo of the things we know from Monogatari to what they will be going forward, and change in Araragi's persona, Araragi's opinion on things, Araragi's way of life. It is, in a lot of ways, against his code, you know what I mean, to be doing what he's doing with Nadeko and just leaving her be. And I'm thinking this maybe has something to do with where we're going. If you think about a lot of other aberrations in the series, when they stop doing the thing that they're doing, if that makes any sense, right? When they make a change like that, bad shit starts to happen. Think about Oni Monogatari, think about Hachikuji there. That was a big theme there. It's also a big theme in Oni Monogatari again, with all of the Shinobu backstory stuff, which I found quite enthralling. So maybe we're going into something similar there. What does this say about Yotsugi? How relevant is Yotsugi going to be to this thing? Is it going to be another Monogatari special where the arc is actually about somebody else? I doubt it. I think we're going to get into the Yotsugi stuff shortly. It's interesting that the arc is called Tsukimonogatari, and we got Tsukihi straight up. I wonder if she's going to be a lingering presence in the arc. I wonder. The big stinger by the end of the episode, and kind of our lead into the rest of the content, is him looking in the mirror and seeing nothing. This, again, is talking to this change, I believe, this change in Araragi going forward. They reference kind of like a vampire, right? So a vampire would not be seen in such conditions, but I would say that what he's doing at the same moment is going against his nature. Maybe the aberration that harbors inside Araragi is something that we yet to consider. I don't know, just some weird side theories there, I guess. Like he isn't himself, as I say here. I think it's time I brought up the episode proper, but Despite its content, which is a weird way to phrase it, I thought the episode was quite good. I actually really enjoyed myself, and I wanted to get that across, definitely. On with the episode, I guess. Rightio, so the first thing we're noticing here is our seemingly new style. Is this going to persist for like a lot of what we have going on future with the show? Is this going to stick around, or is this simply a Tsukimonogatari thing? I still have to look into how this was broadcast. It's a big part of it, I feel. So let's get this out of the way. Street signs, street signs, street signs, street signs. Very, very interesting. Especially in context with a lot of Monogatari that we've seen. It's also almost scrapbook-esque. There's a big tear here, which I'm noticing, which is gives it, again, that tangible feel. Everything's a little bit grimy, a little bit used. Again, I don't have much to say to it. It's got a little bit of pop art colors going on. It's clearly a little bit textured, which a lot of things in Monogatari are. Not very squeaky clean. English, bit of English. Is this just subbing, or is this actually in here? I don't know. We're keeping our chapters from the book. They're just displayed in a different manner. We no longer have our weird cuts between things where we have like numbers and text and weird stuff, right? We're going in a different direction, and it's somewhat welcome, but it also it doesn't feel like home. It doesn't feel like home to me, which is okay. We can be different every now and again. Ononoki Yotsugi is a doll. The arc is called Yotsugi Doll as well, so it's a very, very forthright opening line, I guess. I do like a lot of her movement here. So there's this, which is very noticeably like a cutout, like somebody being manipulated, but like a lot of this stuff, right? Just a little bit left to center, a little bit strange, right? Again, it reflects how her personality is, how her method of talking is for mine. Just in short bursts of animation. I think that it's quite nice. So yeah, Ononoki Yotsugi is not a human. May look like a human, may sound like a human, may even be sympathized with like a human, but it is not a human. Though she is an amusing and expressionless child, her true nature is that of an aberration. She definitely is expressionless. Look at that face go. This is a great shot. I think this would be like a cool like background or something. So in similarity to all of these other evil spirits, all of these other aberrations, such as bird, bee, cat, snake, monkey, snail, devil, crab, all the rest of the show, she is similar to them. Because of that, she doesn't fit into human society very well. No, that's not really the case, Master. This is where Shinobu kind of interjects into Araragi's opening monologue, a little bit of fourth wall stuff, like this is actually happening instead of it being a part of a show, Like, this is actually now a conversation between two characters. It's clearly some internal thoughts for Araragi rather than being something for the audience's benefit, if that makes any sense. She was born from a human corpse, though she's a doll. She looks like a human, pretends to be a human being, and passes pretty well, honestly. Is she striving to be human? According to Shinobu, that's not quite right. Apparently, the fact that she pretends to be human is proof that she isn't trying to become human. Okay, so there's a separation there. And yeah, this is the further example of what we've seen previous. This is almost like study notes, yeah? You could relate that into what Araragi's doing. In the end, it is merely the means to blend into human society. It is only a means to become compatible, so therefore not a means to assimilate. Okay, not to become, but to be associated with. The example we use here, and it's a pretty good one because I was confused in the moment before this, is learning another language. It's just a means to communicate with another country, not an attempt to assimilate into their culture and become one of them. So, me learning Japanese is not an attempt for me myself to become Japanese. That's impossible. At the end of the day, well, I could become a citizen and do all that stuff, but again, like, I would still be an outsider. You know what I mean, though, right? It's an attempt to communicate, to understand, to broaden your horizons, to do a number of things. It may be out of necessity, even. This is a tangible example of what they're talking about and relates to the audience in a nice way, I think. So, again, not to become a human, but to be together with humans. That's our distinction. It's something I should probably try to remember. Might even write it down. To create an amicable relation with someone in another culture, you must understand that foreign culture and look into it. Or understand that foreign culture and look into it, excuse me. When in Rome, do as the Romans do, similar to what Yotsugi is doing. Why do monsters in legends always take the shape of humans or animals? Well, in a very base sense, it's hard to imagine something that's never been imagined before and then give it form. There's also some metaphorical, literary reasons why it's done, because, hey, there is extra weight, pardon the pun, because Hitagi Crab is crab. It lets Nisio Sin do a bunch of different wordplay things that makes it extra interesting and packs it full of meaning. They're unreal existences that base their form on real things. Have you ever thought about it? I had never thought about it. That is, well, if I can say so, perhaps the limitations of human imagination. Humans can only speak about reality using words they know. True. And then relating that into a lot of our aberration, perception, ideas, I guess, power system almost of Monogatari, which is that perception of humans are inherently important to aberrations. But that doesn't mean they're subservient, that does not mean they're thankful, that does not mean they need humans. It just means that if there's nobody to observe, nobody's being observed. Okay, like that's a little bit what's the word? Almost existential, you know? Even Shinobu, the once dubbed legendary vampire, would not be a vampire without that legend, the same with many other different aberrations. If you can't speak of the aberration, it isn't an aberration. A ghost story must be a story of the supernatural. These feel very, very, very important and need further context by the rest of the arc, right? Because right now they're very, very broad, but I feel like they'll come back in a big way by the end. And kind of relating this line of thinking to the unpleasant guy in the Hawaiian shirt, as we all know, Oshino Meme. When you dig down, an aberration is just attachment? Sure. Whatever you say. This is where the music changes, and we change back to Araragi kind of monologue stuff. The music builds a lot of tension, which I think was quite nice. And we get this little bit of animation on Yotsugi, which is just kind of insane in just the way it's put together. Almost feels wrong, but purposefully so. It's meant to create an unnatural feeling, not a human feeling, you know? Attachment emotions. Okay, how are we relating this to the Araragi stuff? Yeah, because it's clear that the aberration, the Koyomi vampire, so to say, is clearly having some kind of impact by this point. That's kind of what we're getting at with a lot of this conversation. We're going to relate it to Araragi that way. That's why he's taken on the kind of characteristics of a vampire and not have a reflection in the mirror. Question, can Tsukihi see his reflection, or is it completely personally based? I wonder if we'll know. Can that perhaps be a feeling similar to sympathizing with a doll? They're kind of going into ghost stories all over the world and the kind of obsession with placing godhood in other creatures we know, right? Think about Monogatari, think about the different kind of gods and aberrations we've seen based on animals. Kind of the way of thinking that gods can reside in all things and relating that somehow to what Yotsugi has going on. And these ghost stories are told by humans. Again, I've got the feeling that all of this will make more sense in the future. This was a nice touch, though. Again, facsimile of a human, a very good copy. She's got her costume and design. It's meant to be a little bit abrasive and weird. It's meant to distinguish her from the rest of the cast. And we have her looking at all these very fancy dresses, right? You know, changing into the costume of different characters in the arc, even, right? The kind of different aberrations there. One, it's cute and fan servicey, and we love that as a Monogatari viewer. Two, it also works metaphorically for what we have going on and potentially her want to replicate what we have going on as well. As we see here, kind of going through them, vampire, cat, crab, snail, monkey, snake, bee, phoenix. Interesting looking phoenix too. As the one who told these stories, I have no choice but to be convinced, and now I am once again trying to tell a story, one of a doll. It's also seemingly the story of yourself, though. Araragi feels like he's spoken too much, though. When certain things are spoken too much, they lose their meaning. The hair-raising and awe-inspiring feelings both disappear, so if something becomes common knowledge, it doesn't become as exciting. Thinking back to the darkness that started on the first day of the second term, or Sengoku Nadeko's incident with the snake god around New Year. I wonder how much longer things will go like this. I'm kind of fed up with it. Ha ha ha. Change, yeah? Change from what we're doing now with high school Araragi going through the cycle in a way, right? To what he will become in the future. He's evolving or devolving, depending on your perspective. There's also some interesting stuff here with the idea of a doll. So we're going through the motions a little bit, and the doll as a kind of copy of a human in a way, right? That kind of facsimile. We're kind of also replicating the nature of an arc. So we don't get a real like Yotsugi arc, but we get a copy of an arc that has maybe happened before, and it all feels a little bit rote and samey as a result. Again, not quite real, not quite a real human, not quite the same stakes there. I think that's very clever and kind of the meta layer of the arc so far, in it being called Yotsugi Doll. Yeah, think that way of thinking is a luxury. Thinking that this will stay around forever is a luxury. The world doesn't work like that. I should have known that. I should have known that, implying that maybe this is retelling the story like it's in the past, and I learn something like that things like this don't last forever. Thinking what if has no point at this stage. Every story is marked by the end at some point. What is this? The rowdy days seem to continue for just a bit longer. The repetition of such words will someday reach its limit. The story of a doll that I'm going to tell is the story where I came to understand that things have an end point. That's why this is the beginning of the end. It's how the human Araragi Koyomi will begin and end and begin and all these different things, right? That is this story. And this shot and into opening. Okay. Yeah, as I said before, a lot of Nissio Sin all over this, right? In that it's very aware of the cycle of the story up to this point, and we may be rolling up expecting just another arc with just another story about just another girl, and he is aware of that and playing off of that. Interesting. And then we have an opening. The song is mad. I don't know how I've never heard it before. It's so cool. And we have a new set of lyrics to read as well. The visual component to the opening isn't overly compelling for mine. The colors are nice. I like that we got Ononoki just kind of moving around and being a goober. I think that's pretty cool. But could we have had some bigger pop-off moments potentially with that chorus and that kind of thing, right? Potentially. I don't know. We'll see if the visual component grows on me. The song has no concerns in that regard because it is breathtaking. As I read these lyrics now as well. Under the breathtaking twilight, the sparkling stars flutter. I guess there's a real rigid quality to it. It kind of almost reminds me of a Hachikuji opening as well, in that it's that kind of not Oni Monogatari, the other one, Kabuki Monogatari opening. Like almost that Tetris thing going on, a little bit of a dance. We love a good dance. That might be enough, but I am sure there is a reason. Kind of highlighting certain words as well. Yotsuki's singing voice as well is very unique. Kind of really peaceful. Really singing in character, but also creating the good music. Some would call it monotone, but I don't believe that that's an apt description. I think it's just kind of sitting in that lower register and being kind of emotive as a result. I like it. I like it a lot. That might be enough, but I am sure there is a reason. We cannot be sure that the things we see are all that there is. Perspective? The reason behind your smile is the reason for my tears. True, perspective, yeah. If I study it thoroughly, I will not be able to keep moving forward. I bestow my wishes upon that falling star. The future I've been working towards and everything else. I grow unable to understand it at all. Me too, I thought I was doing a good job. In that way, we pass the day. What, unable to understand? In bitter confusion. Even though it is full of contradictions, good night for tonight. Despite everything, we're still going to bed. We're living with not knowing. The kind of understanding of human perception and that there may be contradictions between people's point of view that's keeping us awake at night. But despite it all, we still might need to go to bed or something. The thrilling orange and the sparkling mint flavor. Very referential to her color scheme, of course. Under the breathtaking twilight, the sparkling stars flutter. And then that's our end. I do like this last little look here, though, as well. It's kind of like heard you were talking shit. Heard you were talking shit? What'd you say? Young fella? I kind of like that. Yeah, this opening's great. This opening fucking slaps. It's top tier again. We've come off two fucking really good openings off of kind of Hana Monogatari's into this. Like, there's some genuine craft here, especially behind that song, which I'm kind of obsessed with. I really want to see who produced that. I just went and did it myself. Mito. Mito is the musician behind this song. We see some of their work here. Uh, One, all of these theme songs slap for the place further than the universe, so great job. The opening's fantastic. Kind of they're all right. Something to that effect, I believe. One Egg Priority music is huge. Clambon. What is a clambon? I'm imagining that is a different name, part of that group potentially. Also, yeah, I only watched a couple episodes of Yurei Deko. The music was very, very good. Kind of, yeah, moving forward with the music for this currently airing as well. My love story with Yamada Kun at level 999. Some music with Flip Flappers as well, which is another personal favorite of mine, especially in the kind of music department. And yeah, notably did the kind of theme song arrangement for the ED for Hana Monogatari, which I can't say I even remember very well, but yeah, this is standout. This is really, really good. Going to be watching Mitu going forward, as well as Dede Mouse. Correct me if I'm wrong. Where's Dede Mouse? Yeah, working on a lot of similar things. I'm wondering if there's a connection there. Interesting. This is interesting too. Yotsuki-do Part 1, Episode Tai, which is body. We're doing different parts of the doll each time? Maybe. And then, yeah, we get something very nostalgic. We get Araragi being awoken by his sisters, which is something we saw all through Monogatari. It's almost like this arc is poising itself purposely as just another arc. As I'll explain as well, a lot of this episode is naked Tsukihi, so look forward to that. Which is also very nostalgic for Monogatari. Again, as I said before, feeling a lot like something, say, maybe a Nisei Monogatari. The audio production here is insane. It's kind of him drifting back to sleep whilst being awoken by his sisters, kind of thinking about alarm clocks in the process. But again, clocks, passage of time, change, things ending quicker than maybe they should have. Or maybe you think they should. I don't know. It's clearly not here for no reason. Did I say that right? It's clearly here for a reason, or not here for no... Double negative. You know what I mean? Like, he's included clocks as a piece of imagery for a reason, you know? And all sorts of different kind of cutaways and omitteds, and there was some dynamite at some point. Just like lots of countdowns that are negative. And the omitted is interesting because omitted would normally be where the thoughts are, and maybe the thoughts at the moment are absent because he is trying to sleep or not exactly in a great place mentally to be thinking at the moment. So, I don't know. It's just very interestingly done part of the episode, I'll say. I feel like this is referential as well. I feel like I've seen something similar to this shot in something else before. Is this a Japanese thing to the phrase that states you awaken someone's eyes, I feel crazy anger, and because of that, and then a lot of omitted thoughts, and then seemingly a different tangent, and then kind of thanks the alarm clock, i.e. the sisters, and then goes back to sleep. Is he me every morning? And then, yeah, trying to justify not getting up with this huge existential excuse, and then Karen beats the shit out of him to get him up out of bed. It is February 13th. It is the day before Valentine's Day. A very special day for Araragi, of course, right? With Senjo Gahara and that whole side of it, yeah. And then he's like, do you girls want to give me some chocolate? And then they're grossed out by it, but still proceed to bathe with him for half the episode. But I digress. And we're scolding Araragi because kind of graduation and entrance ceremonies and all that are very soon, so you best be studying and not lazing about in bed. Again, building on that theme of change, of times are changing that we have going on this arc, seemingly. So yeah, as we're telling Araragi to study, Tsukihi goes and picks up this book and starts to read, which is seemingly Araragi's whatever. It may be a light novel, it may be manga, it may just be a magazine of some kind, but she's clearly more interested in that than whatever Karen is scolding Araragi about. Yeah, we get a shot of the kind of front cover there. I'm sure it's referential to something. I tried like a couple of guesses, but got nothing. Something with robots in it. There's a lot of feet play this episode as well. Lots of foot licking, lots of foot tickling, lots of foot finger going through the middle of the toes, cleaning them. It's all just very not my type of fun. Hey, but if you're into it, you're into it. I will especially keep it a secret whether I actually licked or Karen pulled her foot back before I licked to preserve the privacy of us siblings. You guys have already basically fucked. I'm gonna be real. I watched Monogatari. I watched episode 8. I watched what you did with that toothbrush. Licking feet isn't out of the question here. The lighting here is very funny though. I like how like finalistic it is too. I think that's pretty good. Then Karen goes off for a run, and we're going to kind of run a very hot bath for her to get ready. Is that kind of a pun with running a bath? The running I went over my head anyway. Karen invites Araragi, but Araragi says go run with Kambaru instead because she can maybe keep up with you. And then see ya, Daddy Yo Nichan, which is just not good. But yeah, and then she's out of here. Later. Hey, and then there's this like little dance. This is clearly referential to something, right? Like he's doing some kind of dance for some reason. Is this like the oh my god, Platinum Disco? Is he doing Platinum Disco right now? That tracks. It tracks with the sisters being here. It tracks with Tsukihi being here as well, or maybe trying to get her attention. Like, because I recognize these hand movements a little bit. It's very well animated, though. They clearly put a lot of effort into it. I've definitely seen this gifified before, so that's why I'm a little bit ahead of the curve there and wasn't as surprised. So Karen's crazy about sports and stuff. Why doesn't she join another club? She can't. It'd be betrayal. It's the rule of the School of Karate. All students are forbidden from joining other clubs. And then we're linking this into the kind of the passage of time and things changing, right? Eventually she will give up the Fire Sisters as well. Eventually she will have to stop doing karate at some point, right? Right? Or is this one of the things that she's going to make her thing? Is that not going to change? But just kind of the pacing and animation of the episode, it's just funny. Like, look at that. Like, it's meant to be humorous. And I laughed a lot. So it's clearly doing its job correctly. You know what I mean? Some arcs in Monogatari, and you forget that Monogatari is a funny show a lot, they're meant to be taken very seriously. And this isn't one of them for right now. Like, this is clearly meant in jest, a lot of this stuff. It's still building themes and it's still building intrigue quite well, but I like that we're just being a little bit light with it. There's a little bit of levity to it for sure. Don't you find it frustrating that kind of Karen's talent is being buried like this? We can have her aim to be like an Olympian or something, and then, you know, Tsukihi kicks him, doesn't want that to happen, they'll always be the Fire Sisters. Yeah, anyone that tries to sever the bonds of the Fire Sisters can't be forgiven, not even you. However, you guys were thinking about disbanding, and there was going to be a party with underage women for me to hang around with because I'm Araragi. Hang on, look at these silhouettes. Hold on. I know you, and I know you, and I know you. Do I know you? Yeah, I know you. Do we have a mummy here? No. I forget names, but they're not Monogatari. Of course they would be Monogatari. No, they're Madoka girls. That's very funny. I like this. I can't believe I didn't notice this in the moment. Maybe these are other characters from other things as well that I'm just not noticing. Particularly this character here, like Madoka and you, Kyo something. Anyway, it's been a long time. Have very noticeable silhouettes. So, but yeah, I'm happy I caught a reference for once, and it was actually one I understood. That's nice. However, Karen will one day leave the Fire Sisters, right? She will go to high school. That's just the passage of time, the same way that you're entering university, entering college, tertiary education. All sorts of things may dazzle Karen in high school, right? Maybe alluding to lovu. The environment will change, but even then, I don't think Karen-chan will quit going to that dojo. Karen is fascinated with her master right now. Fascinated is a word too, kind of Senjugahara fascination, that kind of fascination potentially. Again, all these clocks, Araragi thinking along with things now, right? It's the same for me. No matter which way it goes, in due time, my environment will change more than Karen's for sure. And the music as well, as I brought it up before, kind of building that tension, releasing it right at that right moment. Again, change. All facets of the piece of media are reinforcing this theme. It's high time that the Fire Sisters wake up, and me too. Cool. And then, yeah, moving on to chapter 3 here. Yeah, this is very, theme of arc building. And now we're going to go into the bathing stuff, so strap in. He's going to set a really hot bath, and then maybe hop in as well, and then Tsukihi gets the same idea because they're all deviants. So correct me if I'm wrong because I'm not a creep, but wouldn't the kind of optimal play to be to bathe after her to get to bathe in her bathwater? Right now you're just kind of letting her bathe in your water, which I don't know. You may be into that, but I don't see the benefit. A lot of this is tomfoolery and stuff, so I'll be skipping through it, but just know it was quite funny. Like you're the West. No, wait, you're the worst. That's pretty good. I will say there's a marked difference between Araragi bathing before Karen and Tsukihi bathing before Karen. Just kind of a, you know, there's lots of good parts about being male, but you can't get away with that one. I'm sorry. That's just a little bit weird, especially it being you. Yeah, she does peg that shampoo at his head, though. She is very violent, which kind of tracks with a lot of what we're doing with Tsukihi as well. I did note as well that a lot of our close-ups are back on Tsukihi's face, which are all very creepy. But again, that's a lot of what she's meant to look kind of creepy because she's not human. It's a lot of what Tsukihi Phoenix is about. Just a reminder for those that forgot. Like this episode, like it's clearly turning up the kind of budget in the animation. Like a lot of this character stuff is quite nice. Just flows well. There's lots of emphasis put on the right parts. It's good. It's very, very good. It's engaging to watch it move, which is not something I've said a lot for Monogatari. It can sometimes feel like a little bit of a PowerPoint show, just telling me the plot. And here we've got a little bit of slapstick, and it's actually quite nice. Like yeah, okay, even there, like a little bit of CG. This is obviously very cartoony, like the kind of quick shot with the fingers in the eye, cool. And then and then Tsukihi suggests that they bath together, and now Aragi's kind of questioning his life choices, how they ended up at this point. You don't want to go? Then does Oni-chan's steam rise in his hot springs at his little sister? Impossible, impossible. We're in the bathroom. What? Is this a metaphor for a penis? Am I getting that correct? Weird one. Weird one for sure. Hey you, are you all talk? I guess you're all bark and no bite. You didn't have the guts to take a bath with me in reality, did you, you chicken girl? Kind of retorting back at her. Weird. I'm also really freaked out by the subs that are they're like Jaden Smith tweets, and it's freaking me out, and it makes it uncomfortable for me. It is not a bath as spacious as the anime version, or rather, it is an average-sized bathroom for an average family. Okay, so this is funny. I'm imagining this is text from the novel. And because the anime took some creative liberties with the bathroom, and now they obviously can't change it, they need to explain in a piece of text why the bathroom is actually small and not as spacious as it may seem, for the reason why they're bathing so close to each other, not, they could touch each other's elbow and it'd be kind of awkward and weird, right? That's just hilarious. That's this bolty, level fucking fourth wall shit. Yeah, they're all just trying to chicken each other out, right? It's meant to be awkward. There's kind of random white liquid going all over the place, and yeah, okay. If it's awkward, you leave. No, you leave. No, you leave. Bit of sibling rivalry to it in the worst way possible. Yeah, she did say the same bit about the hot spring rising from the little sister twice. It's not that good to say it twice, Suki. You got to come up with new material. He does have a ripped 8-pack though. Look at him go, and a veritable Adonis. He looks crazy. And they're just ogling each other because they're siblings, and that's what siblings do apparently. Monogatari stuff. We both have so much hair, it's inefficient to watch our hair side by side like this. It's not economical. Let's get one person behind the other. Let's change the dynamic a little bit. This is also interesting in a lot of our stuff we've been talking about with Araragi's hair and it being longer as time goes on to hide that bite mark. So, of course, by something like February, it'd be very, very long. And Tsukihi's is just long because that's her flavor of the month. This is just insane. This is insane text. I just read this again. The what was short for what, to use as an expression of surprise, but at the same time it was short for wow, I see, as standing behind somebody is a good method to wash their hair. And then we just get all referential with a bunch of different stuff. Here's Astro Boy, but then we get two different references that I don't know. Like this very funny one-liner, which I won't show the image for because it is lewd. Like Metropolitan Ordinance. I don't know what that is. Let me get on the old Googletron. Oh, is it like a weird child porn thing in Japan? Okay, sure. Is this what it's referencing? Because that's kind of funny. Posing and then raising my arms like this and saying Skytree might have been better, huh? Back to Google. Just in reference to maybe Tokyo Skytree, like making a tower. Like, these are all just strange references. I'm sure they make more sense for a Japanese audience, but sure. I do like a lot of Tsukihi's sound effects as well, going oh wah wah as she's like cleaning. I think that's pretty cute. Not between the toes though. They get to talking about bangs, and then that gets to talking about Nadeko. And of course, we know about Nadeko. She's been released from hospital, presumably because she was treated like a missing person. So then they go to hospital to check if anything's wrong with them, and then they see that nothing's wrong with them, and then she gets released. And of course, Araragi's hearing this from afar, and he's like, I know what happened. I can't tell anybody, and I'm not allowed to see her, and all these other things. And maybe that's contributing to some of the stuff that's happening. Maybe that's contributing to this feeling of change. You can't go back. You know what I mean? Like, things have happened, they're irreversible, and for that reason, I can't see a character anymore. I like all these shots we get of a vacant shrine as well, as it's kind of the same shrine that's been built from the kind of, not Tsukihi, from the Nadeko situation, but it's empty. It's been taken out of that location, and things are starting to change again, right? It's not how it was before. Like, this is another great example of how, like, fluid everything is. She just had her leg, like, right up in the air and shit. Like, if I go back a little bit, even a little bit more. Like that kind of stuff, you know? Like, that's a difference in the production from last season to this, I believe. Then we get to Tsukihi talking about Araragi putting too much on his own shoulders, right? Carrying too much weight, per se. She says such obvious things, but especially Tsukihi, about Sengoku, about how she was missing for the past few months, is not something she knows the minute details of. And you should go see her one time, Araragi, before you get too busy with college stuff. So Nadeko being freed and all these things, that's a wonderful thing. However, that good, wonderful thing has once again created an extremely unstable area in this town. So maybe he's uneasy about leaving said town and changing things by going to college. So this kind of vacuum of power, per se, a lot of what kind of Augie and Guy Nezuko have been getting into as well, right? It's no longer filled. It's still as unstable as ever. Neither Guyan's plan nor Augie's plan have come to fruition, you know? It's still that same vacuum. So I regret leaving this town, I regret leaving my sisters, I regret changing things. Even if everything doesn't turn out fine, I need to make sure that there's a good balance. When did I take on that role? It didn't used to be my role, but now I'm somewhat of a balancer because of the same power vacuum being maybe an Oshinomeme. Yeah, very reflective part of the scene, especially in contrast to a lot of the slapsticky, kind of ecchi stuff we've seen previous. It's almost like Tsukihi reads his mind here, right? It's not your role. You carry too much weight on your shoulders to try and balance this. You should just let go. Leave something for somebody else. It's not like you can solve everything, but again, this is completely in counter to what we know about Araragi and potentially is contributing to what's going on with him not having a reflection. So this is Araragi dealing with the consequences of being told by someone like a Kaiki to stay out of it, right? Don't do your normal shtick. It's not needed here. Change your ways. So you're still keeping up with your studying. How's it actually going? So that's what I had to answer. Even if it wasn't, I had to answer that way. Such a sad self-hypnosis. There's an Araragi pedophile joke in here where he laments the size of the bathtub, where he can't fit in there with a junior high girl, but maybe somebody smaller would be good. And then Tsuki questions that and then gets a bucket of water in the face. I don't know, man. I don't know about that line, Araragi. But just in total, it might be a difference with the subbing this time. But again, it's the same group, yeah. It's still Call Girls. It flows a lot better for mine. I feel like I'm understanding things. Don't know. Just like flows together comedically too. I find myself chuckling a lot more. Maybe they're just getting better as time goes on. And then, yeah, essentially, I've been through it. He looks in the mirror at this moment, and then doesn't see his own reflection, and then that reflects some vampire stuff, just to kind of skip ahead so we get to the ED. The music build up here is quite good, though. I think that's nice. Cool. And then I've heard this song before, so we're not going to go into that construction of that song. But Correct me if I'm wrong, this is Claris after the kind of reformation there, because I know they split up for a time, I think. Either way, let me read the lyrics here. It's kind of like a weird cartoon Yotsugi robot saving day type deal in the credits here. It's probably referential to something as well. These normal, ordinary days, I wonder how long we can continue passing our time like this. Change! Change is happening. From the moment I thought about that, I wondered if the end had already begun. True. If you start thinking about the end, it'll only appear sooner. And as soon as you start to think that things may change, they may start to change. It's just kind of self-prophecy at that point. Let's blame it on my spot-on fortunes or on my curled-up hair. But I'm frozen in place again today, unable to change. Too scared of changing? Yeah, it's like Yotsugi's like a big old mech or something, right? This is, yeah, it's a weird one. This is starting to become a world where you don't exist. I don't want to grow to regret the day I called today. There's nothing but right now, and even though I've always known that, I wasn't able to say anything today. Regrets, change. It's being reinforced by every fucking level of the show. Yeah, clearly where we're going. Even if we can never go back to those days, listen, I want to start things from the beginning over and over again. I want to go back and do it all again. I want to repeat instead of moving forward. There's nothing but right now, even though I've always known that, I want to tell you today, and that's it. Interesting. The other point I'll note is that we have a black screen here and no previews, probably indicating like it's like a one broadcast type dealy. But yeah, that'll bring us to the end of the episode, and I recorded for way longer than I should have. So yeah, I've kind of been through a lot of my thoughts on the episode overall. It's very humorous. I think it establishes theme well. I think that there's some nice animation touches that kind of increase the production quality going on to a new season now. I think the opening slaps. I think the ending slaps. We're in for a good arc. We're setting up some nice stuff. Yotsugi is seemingly the focus, but I've been wrong with that before, and certain subtitles on arcs. I wonder where we'll go to get her into the plot. I don't know. I really don't. Yeah, just kind of a humorous, back to basics kind of episode, but again, there's a lot there. I talked about it for, again, way too long, and I'm probably going to wrap up now. 2 thumbs up. It was good. I'm actually still I'm still buzzed off getting that Madoka reference. I'm kind of cracked, you know. But either way, chill stuff. If you like the video, consider liking the video. If you like the video and you want to see more, consider subscribing to the channel. Comment below anything you thought about the episode, anything I could do to improve my presentation. Comment below. I'm doing follow for follow on Twitter, so follow me on Twitter if you would like me to follow you back. And the Discord, join Discord, love Discord, Discord. And yeah, just closing up for today. 2 episodes next week of Monogatari. I will make sure of it. And yeah, thank you for watching. Catch you again next week for more Monogatari goodness. Goodbye and good night.